Hello everyone, welcome to the Scumdogs Kennel. I'm your host, Chris Williams, and in today's Cryptid Corner mini episode, I am going to talk about the history of reptilian encounters, folks, both from possible mythological times as well from modern accounts, folks, at least more recent times. Either way, let's get into the article today, folks, titled, Do Reptilians Exist Among Us? A Long History of Serpentine Humanoid Claims. Let's get into this article now. For years, readers and experiencers have asked whether reptilian beings are actually present among us, not as a metaphor or myth, but as literal entities moving through our world. It is a difficult question to answer responsibly because the subject sits on the crossroads of ancient serpent lore, modern UFO contact narratives, conspiratorial belief systems, and a small body of witness testimony that remains intriguing but unverified. So, let's read these stories now and maybe try to basically come to terms with what has been recorded, folks. Witness report Romanian military associated reptilian encounter. One of the more circulated accounts came through Emil Steniu, a Romanian army general in reserve, ufological writer, and former political figure associated with ASFAN, the Association for the Study of Unidentified Aerospace Phenomena. Older online Reptilians often overstate his official status. Public biographical summaries indicate he was a general in reserve and that his leadership of the Great Romania Party was from 2015 to 2016, not an ongoing office. Well, that's interesting, folks. I suppose they want to downplay this because they want people to take the story more seriously, folks. But we have to basically say that this guy was a general and was basically part of this basic Romanian party from 2015 to 2016, folks. His office, both in basically the political party as well as basically being a general, folks, doesn't basically say that, or basically make his claims false, folks. They just basically give a little more information to who this man was. But let's read on. According to the story attributed to Steniu, a high-ranking military officer identified only as Colonel X was returning from a solo camping trip in the Ridizat Mountains and stopped at a rural gas station shortly after 5 o'clock a.m. There he noticed a khaki Hummer with dark windows and no visible occupants. After paying for fuel, he allegedly saw a humanoid reptilian figure seated in the vehicle, green-scaled, unclothed except for military boots, with slit yellow eyes and a crest-like head. The being reportedly exited the vehicle, made sharp vocal sounds towards someone inside, then drove off. A short distance later, the officer supposedly encountered the same Hummer again, this time stopped with its doors open. He claimed to see two reptilian beings outside the vehicle, one taller than the other, apparently in some form of argument. One was said to have a tail and lizard-like feet. Passing motorists allegedly pointed at the scene, but no one stopped. The officer then took multiple photographs on his phone, only to later find that all 11 images had become featureless, green frames, despite later attempts to find witnesses or corroboration. No supporting evidence surfaced. Sadly, no. There is no evidence, folks. So, could this be a true story? Or could it be that maybe this, witness, Colonel X, was given some sort of drug and hallucinated all of this? Was he possibly a subject of some sort of mind control experiment because of how outlandish this story is, folks? It could be that maybe Colonel X was, taking drugs privately and went on a bender and hallucinated all of this, folks. But there is something very strange to be said about this fact. One of the reptilian beings was wearing combat boots, so it makes me think that perhaps maybe he and the other one were wearing costumes, folks, and that maybe Colonel X here mistook them for actual alien beings. But why were they in a Hummer, folks? As I said, maybe there's some military aspect of this story, folks, that may be done to basically, to fool Colonel X, but we can't be for sure. But let's move on to the next article, though. Or at least part of this article. Historical context and comparative reptilian claims. The idea of serpent or reptile humanoids is far older than modern UFO culture. In South Asian tradition, Nagas are semi-divine serpent beings who can appear partly or fully human, and in some traditions they are associated with rulership, hidden realms, and contact with human society. Across other mythic traditions, dragons and serpent beings often function as liminal entities tied to underworlds, sacred knowledge, chaos, or forbidden boundaries. That does not prove modern reptilian entities are real, but it does show that the human imagination has long preserved a deep archetype of intelligent serpentine beings existing alongside humanity. In modern esoteric and conspiratorial culture, the reptilian theme took on a very different form. Academic analysis of this shift points to David Icke's 1990 reptilian thesis as the most influential modern popularization of the idea of literal or interdimensional reptilian rulers hidden within human institutions. That belief system helped transform older serpent mythology into a contemporary narrative of infiltration, subterranean bases, hybrid bloodlines, and covert control. Indeed, folks, thanks to David Icke, the idea of reptilians has become a popular idea among both UFO enthusiasts as well as conspiratorial circles, not to mention basically people who want to take the idea of aliens seriously. There could be alien beings, folks, out there. Do they exist on Earth? Perhaps, but we're not sure yet. But let's continue now with this article. There are also a number of reported reptilian, humanoid, or lizard-man encounters in fortune lore. The 1988 Bishopville, South Carolina lizardman case became one of the best-known American reptilian humanoid legends after a teenager reported a 7-foot creature with red eyes, scales, and clawed hands attacking his car near Scape or Swamp. The case drew law enforcement attention and intense publicity, but it remains folklore rather than established zoological evidence. Another often cited case is the 1972 Thetis Lake creature report from British Columbia that initially circulated as a reptilian humanoid or gillman sighting, but later research concluded it was an admitted hoax inspired by a creature feature that had aired locally just before the report. It is a useful cautionary example because it shows how quickly a dramatic humanoid reptile claim can enter folklore, even when the evidentiary base collapses later, folks. Indeed, you have to basically always remind yourselves that there are hoaxes out there, folks, and always be aware of them. But the case with the Scape or Swamp encounter, that encounter basically shows this weird entity rushing at this man as he basically jumped back in his car to basically avoid this thing and drive off. It basically scraped at basically his door handle, doing little damage, folks, and became a well-known story that people still talk about in UFO circles today, as well as cryptid enthusiasts as well, who basically take the story as maybe it could be true, but we can't be for sure. But it's something that other people have said they've seen similar reptilian beings as well. So maybe it was an alien this man encountered. But let's read on, folks. Within ufological contact literature, the David Eckhart case is one of the more discussed modern narratives involving alleged reptilian and other non-human A's. It remains sharply divisive, even within the UFO community, with some researchers treating it as potentially significant and others as likely a hoax, misinterpretation, or contamination by belief. The key point is that it still is anecdotal and unresolved. So, the fact is that no one's been able to prove that basically isn't real, folks. So maybe there's some truth to this story that this guy, David Eckhart, did encounter some sort of reptilian being. But as I said, folks, we just can't be for sure. All we know is that people are encountering these alien beings. I can remember one case in which this man basically encountered this alien reptilian female who told him about the history of the reptilians, on and under the earth, that they existed here since basically the time of the dinosaurs, and that they see the earth as theirs and not actually ours. This is what the reptilian woman told the interviewer here, folks. He, along with another man, were basically made aware of this information as they basically later discussed it and basically wondered at the real, truth of it all. Concerned that they actually met a real reptilian being, who apparently is an ultra-terrestrial, not an alien being, folks, because her and her people evolved here alongside of us and even before us, but have lived here ever since. It makes you think, what is the actual truth about all of this? Could these beings really be real? If they are, why don't they just come out and basically admit that they are here? Could it be that maybe they're being stopped, perhaps by fear of what humans will do to them? Considering that these alien beings have far more advanced technology, maybe it's due to the fact that even though they could kill us, there's a chance that maybe they can't kill all of us, or it basically would devastate the planet. We can't be for sure. What about other alien beings from outer space, folks? Other reptilian entities, and, like the Greys, who have also been conflated with alongside the reptilians, perhaps basically being lizard-like beings themselves. Not to mention other alien beings too, folks. Either way, all of it's fascinating, but we're now at the end, so please go subscribe to my YouTube channel, Read Comics They're Bad For You. You can use the YouTube link down below in the descriptions of the chat to go subscribe me. There are other links to Twitter, Rumble, Odyssey, Twitch or BitChute, Dark Sayings, Wobit Co-op, and stitched together pics. And remember, folks, I'm Chris Williams from the Scumdogs Kindle. Thank you all for joining me. I'll be back again tomorrow with another great video, so make sure to come back again then. Until next time, folks, I'll see you all again soon.